This is the UWF Forensic Field Recovery Field School. And I'm a practicing forensic anthropologist. Forensic anthropology is just the application of biological anthropology knowledge to questions of medico-legal significance. Typically, who somebody was and how they died. And so in the medico-legal context in the United States is the coroner and medical examiner system, the death investigation system. But we also have to have a set of field recovery skills that are analogous to what archaeologists have. And so when we process a crime scene, we are processing a crime scene like an archaeological site.
I believe we are the only 5-week field school in the nation right now. All other programs in forensic anthropology are typically only 1 week. But UWF has such an amazing focus on archaeological field methods that ours is able to be 5 weeks long.
And so what you're seeing here is sort of the culmination of their whole summer of training, where not only are they surveying, mapping, and documenting, but they're also doing subsurface excavations. And they first had to identify clandestine grave sites. Of course, these are mock sites that my graduate students dug.
We placed plastic skeletons into the ground. We buried them as if we were in the shoes of a perpetrator. So we did it quick and dirty, as if it were in the middle of the night or something along those lines. And ironically enough, while we were back here digging these skeletons, the UWF Police Department came upon us and came out to investigate to see what we were doing. So that was very interesting, and we were all standing there with our shovels like, we promised we're supposed to be here.
They have just created these very realistic scenarios. So there are some individuals that look like they've been buried ritualistically.
Others were had ligatures, so they were bound to their wrists. We had others that had shell casings or other material evidence within the dirt nearby, so the students had to screen through to try to find that additional evidence with the burials.
The scenarios that we have tried to create for the students really do approximate what they might see in a forensic recovery context.
So we dug the graves 3 weeks beforehand so that they would give the time for the dirt to settle, everything to look a little bit more natural. And then we had them start up at the road, and they did a pedestrian line search where you're spread out, arm to arm with everybody in the field school, and then we just systematically walked the entire forest.
And then you're looking for things that look suspicious, like this was a possible site because it's a depression. So depressions, mounds, and like discoloration of the forest ground was mainly what we were looking for. And then obviously any material evidence, like we found a hat, we found a sign, found some duct tape. Those things were also flagged and GPS located.
And then that is when we decided to break up into our groups and split up the work and start excavating to see what was down there.
So you go down like 10 centimeters at a time and expose the bone, photograph it, map it.
And they're using a technique called pedestaling, which is very, very carefully carving with wooden or plastic tools all of the sediments away from the sides of a bone so that you can draw a map of it, take a photograph of it, but it isn't going anywhere. Because the context of, for example, an item of material evidence and an individual's body is really important. Duct tape is meaningful if you find it in the screens, but it's more meaningful if you find it intact around a decedent's wrists. So preserving that context as they are excavating and preserving the remains and the material evidence in situ, in place, is really, really important. And that's a skill that they'll take away from this course.
So I actually have an upcoming job with the medical examiner's office. So I'll be one of the forensic techs. It's a really rewarding experience, and it will give me really good experience for going into a master's program later on.
But that's why the forensic field recovery program here is really important, because I want to produce a generation of forensic anthropologists that actually has field recovery chops.
So our students are really able to come out of here with a fantastic, strong foundation for moving on to either forensics, archaeology, or both, or basically anything in anthropology that they want to pursue after this.